It seems we have some bad news for Resident Evil fans, or at least those specifically looking forward to the next mainline entry, that being Resident Evil 9. Golem, a prominent Resident Evil leaker, has unfortunately cast some disappointing news, which of course could be false, but he does have quite a good track record in terms of the leaks that he pumps out. But in general, it's basically just saying that the game will no longer be coming out in 2025. Although he did previously state that the game would be coming in the summer of 2025, it seems that the game has been internally delayed and will instead come out in 2026. And this came as part of his most recent leaks, which included the revelation that the next two Resident Evil games to be remade will be Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Code Veronica instead of Resident Evil 1 or 5, which were games that many fans were speculating would be next, given how the Resident Evil 4 remake's ending played out, with Wesker clearly setting up his plans that take place in Resident Evil 5. But regardless, it is nice to know that we are getting some Resident Evil games in 2025, so this is definitely exciting news to some extent, depending on what type of fan you are. If you are a fan of the remakes, this is great, and of course if you haven't played the originals of Zero and Code Veronica, this is fantastic news. But if you are a person that's not too big of a fan of the remakes and just wants to see where the timeline's heading in the main entries in the series, then I suppose this is a bit of a bummer. But of course it comes with a benefit on either end, one of which they have more time for the game, the other side the fans are going to have to wait longer. But regardless, according to this rumor, it seems that Resident Evil 9 won't be coming in 2025, and apparently there won't even be an announcement this summer. But of course, once again, do take all of this with a grain of salt, because you never know what Capcom has planned, as of course this is a rumor, and even if it is true, it could be a case that they change their plans closer to the summertime and they end up announcing the game anyways. But of course time will tell. But in terms of its development time, of course a longer development time could indicate a larger and more complex Resident Evil experience, and the game is rumored to be an open world game and extremely ambitious, so it would make sense that they take this time to delay the game to allow them to make the game more refined and ensure that the game lives up to the series' high standards, as Capcom has produced a lot of high quality titles recently, with Monster Hunter Wilds on the way as well, which does come out in 6 days as of the recording of this video, which I'm extremely excited for. As of course you may know, if you are a big fan of the channel or you hear a lot, there is a big portion of this channel that is Monster Hunter, given my profile picture. But that's going off on a bit of a tangent. The point being, Capcom does have a high standard to live up to, so it makes sense that if they are going for an open world Resident Evil game, which they haven't properly done before, it does make sense that they would want to take their time with this and make sure it is actually up to standards with the rest of the Resident Evil games. Maybe bar Resident Evil 6 for a lot of fans. For me personally, even Resident Evil 6 was a decent game for what it was. If you take it out of the it needs to be survival horror, I do think it was a decent action shooter. Maybe a bit too long for its own good, given a lot of areas cross over. But once again, this is going off on a tangent. But regardless, Capcom does have a lot to live up to with this 9th installment of the mainline series. But jumping back onto the rumor from Golem, instead of a new entry in the mainline series, Capcom is likely set to announce either of the two new remakes, Resident Evil 0 or Code Veronica, or maybe even both of them, which I think is probably unlikely, given they would probably want to space out the releases. But you never know, and since Capcom does have a marketing deal with Sony for Resident Evil games, these would likely be announced at Sony's Summer Showcase. But of course, with all that said, remember that these are just rumors for the time being, and even though leakers like Golem have so far shown themselves to be largely accurate with a lot of what they've published before official announcements, you should still of course wait for official announcements from Capcom directly before you take any of this as objective facts. But with that said, guys, that does bring us to the end of this video. Let me know down below what you think of this rumor, and if you are happy that they're taking their time with this release, or disappointed given it's been nearly 4 years since the last mainline entry. You may be even feeling a bit of both, as that would make sense, as I'm sure many fans would want Resident Evil 9 to be the best release possible, but also want it as soon as possible. But regardless, drop your thoughts down below and I look forward to reading all of your comments. Be sure to smash the like button if you did enjoy it. It does help with the channel a ton, and subscribe for a lot more Resident Evil content as we make our way to that fabulous 10,000 subscribers. Don't forget to join our Discord, link is at the top of the description, and thank you all so much for watching. I've been The Hunter Project. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.